Critic, and welcome back. We are here to continue our quick little deep dive as the NFL draft is slowly approaching, and we're talking about the New York Jets as they start off with the AFC East. The Jets. The Jets. You know, there are times in a young sportsman's life who gets into football for the first time, they start realizing the history of the NFL and the team that won Super Bowls. And then they start realizing, wait, the Jets won a Super Bowl? But the Jets are like the punchline in the NFL. Hell, Cleveland has more respectability in NFL lore than the Jets. But it's still weird to think that, yeah, the New York Jets are Super Bowl champions. And yes, maybe Joe Namath is overrated. That's the New York Jets in a nutshell. And with Aaron Rodgers coming to the Jets, there was a lot of hope. Even I was thinking, the Jets might be good. Might be good because we saw what Tom Brady did with the Buccaneers. One and in, Super Bowl win. And then Stafford did the same thing. One and in, Super Bowl win. And then you start seeing that there's other teams start taking these veterans, sadly towards the end of their career. Not like in playing, but just like in their late 30s, 40s. You just feel like it's the end of it. And when Aaron Rodgers went to New York, it just felt like this is it. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets are, they're finally going to get what that defense was, what those rookies they got. They're finally going to showcase the full strength of the New York Jets. And then to go down so quickly that when I saw it, I was like, no way is he out. Like, I thought it was a high ankle sprain. Like, okay, he hurt it. He probably won't finish the rest of the game. But when he finally when he heard the word Achilles anything, you just go, oh boy. And then you're like, and you just sit back and go, only one question comes across. What is going on with Rich Eisen right now? I'm sure he must be going Hulk smash on everything right now. And of course, the New York Jets fans, faithful in itself, and also all the narratives of Super Bowl, and can't go anything without NFL conspiracies. So, yeah, the Jets. If Rodgers were to play, I still thought they were going to be a 10-win team. I was not going to say they're going to surpass, but I thought they were going to be a 10-win team. They end up sadly going 7-10. That's kind of what I said. Just scratch and reverse it. So I thought they'll be at least a 10-win team. I was not expecting them going to be like a 13-win team, even if Rodgers played. I thought they were going to be a 10-win team, maybe an 11-win team, but I was not thinking they were going to be like, look at the Jets. Ha ha! No, I was not thinking that at all. So, yeah. Going into... So with Rodgers gone, it's hard to find their best game. The best game I could find out that felt like had the most important was... I don't like doing the first 4 weeks of a season, of a team. Because I feel like since players don't really have the preseason as much, or at all, that I feel like their first 4 games are especially meant to be like, getting themselves into the groove. So, this is still very new, but it's the only win that kind of had like an impact. At least to me anyway. Week 6 versus Philadelphia. I thought that was probably their best game. Philadelphia had the Super Bowl appearance, so I felt like that was going to be the norm. I mean, maybe if Rodgers was playing, this was supposed to be a much, much bigger game. But to me, this was... And it's becoming more apparent as I do these videos. And anytime I talk about Philadelphia, there's always that indication were there early signs of Philadelphia's, like, they won, but there's something off. Versus the team that beats them going, did they really... It's weird, and I don't like doing that to teams. But for the Jets against Philadelphia, who gave them their first loss of the season, and then Philadelphia went become 10-1 before their terrible collapse, that was the bigger win. It was Philadelphia, and I think nobody thought... They would have beaten the Chiefs. No doubt they would have been the best game for the Jets. Even though that time they played the best... And the refs took over the ball. Referees. NFL rigged. Conspiracy. So I'm giving the Philadelphia game as the best game. I thought it was not showing their full strength that I'd give the best game, but compared to their opponent, I can see down the line that the Houston Texans, but there was still conversation of the Texans game where I was like, was the Texans it? The Texans be? I mean they crushed the Texans, so that was a big one, but expectation of the Texans at the time, expectation of the Jets. Yes, the Texans went on to win the division, the play, but even at that time, we didn't think they were going to do that. So I'm going with Philadelphia's. Beating Philadelphia was more of a statement of the Jets, showcase that maybe there's a chance they could do something. Their worst game, and I think the worst game is not the game you may think. It's the worst game for honestly the performance of both teams that made it the worst game, and that is Week 13 versus Atlanta. I know you can go with the Dolphins, giving them a 0. There's a lot of games I can see that. But I'm giving this game because it just felt like you're telling me the Jets couldn't beat Atlanta. I know Atlanta had a top 10 defense, but I felt like the Jets defense was going to honestly take over the game and put it on. They had Desmond Ritter. I mean, no matter who the Falcons had a quarterback at the time, it didn't matter. So I really thought the Jets defense and the Russian attack that they were going to take over the game or something. I thought honestly they were going to do it, but then again, I remember Tyler Boyd, and so I just thought better. 13-8. 13-8 is a kind of score you would see semi-pro football level. No disrespect to semi-pro football. I actually go to a lot of the semi-pro football games when we get here in the Florida area. I respect them. Sometimes they put up 50 points. Sometimes they put 10 points combined. It happens. But 13-8 just screams like Pop Warner, not a professional league kind of score that says we're giving these guys millions of dollars to barely put 10 points. And just like I said, it's both before. This should have been at worst 14-13 Jets, or Jets kicked like 7 field goals. Like it should have been that way. The Jets should have been, and that's why it's an ugly win that even the Falcon fans were not want to take credit for it. Yeah, we beat the Jets. Ew, gross. So yes, it's not the worst as in scoreboard, but it's worse as in, man, do we not care? Do we not care? I guess we don't. And Atlanta was like, we care, and that's looked worse. Which we'll get to Atlanta when we get to Atlanta, but this is not good. Your MVP, Jets fans. Yeah, it's kind of obvious. I'm giving it to Priest Hall. I'm giving it to Priest Hall. He had nearly 1,000 yards rushing. He had a big injury in his rookie season. He was probably in a candidacy with Garrett Wilson for potential Rookie of the Year, or at least Offensive Rookie of the Year. And with him coming in, there was that feeling of like, okay, we got Priest Hall, and then they got Dalvin Cook. But the whole concept was that Aaron Rodgers was going to help elevate those two players. Dalvin Cook was still going to be as versatile as he was in Minnesota, with Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball like he did with Aaron Jones in the past in Green Bay. Priest Hall was going to showcase that his rookie sensation, the injury, did not hinder him as much for his second year. Garrett Wilson was going to go off. Like, it just felt so much riding on Aaron Rodgers, and not just his ability, but just his presence was going to elevate this team. I mean, I can see Garrett Wilson. He had another 1,000-yard season with all the different quarterbacks to deal with. I can see that. But I'm going with Priest Hall because he had the injury, and he was 6 yards from getting 1,000. Garrett Wilson played great. I mean, he was Rookie of the Year, so I was not looking bad on it compared to his other receivers. I mean, he nearly had twice as many yards versus the next man up. But I'm giving Priest Hall because he did have the injury and he did come back in a big way. So I'm going to give it to Priest Hall. Jets grade at the end of the season. It's hard to give a grade when the best player is gone. When the best player gets hurt, and the team does bad, you can't say, well, it's because of injury, especially injury when it's like it happened so early, not even after the end of the first series, it happened. So you can't just say, well, they get an F because they sucked. I'm like, well, yeah, they were terrible, but they lost their starting quarterback, which they put all their eggs in one basket. But then again, you thought Aaron Rodgers was going to do it, and we all felt that way. I mean, even if you're a Jets fan, you still felt like Aaron Rodgers was going to at least play the whole season. If Aaron Rodgers played the whole season, they still went 7-10. I think then we can say definitely a D for disappointment. That defense, though, they had some moment where they lost, but they played well. I'm going to give it a C. C, because I can't give it an I for consistency. The Jets' consistency of looking like good parts here, but the quarterback is the same. There's the main variable that just says we have not figured this riddle out yet, and we don't know when we're going to figure it out. But I'm giving it to Hall. I'm giving a C minus. The Jets, man, the Jets remind me of Cleveland of past years, where I just feel like, okay, guys, the joke is getting old. I know Cleveland's the worst team, but the joke is getting old. We need to do that. And now Cleveland, Detroit made the playoffs. We were not really close, but we were probably the closest ever been to potential Detroit Cleveland Super Bowl. They were both in the dance. Were they going to meet? I doubt it. Not even close. I mean, Detroit went closer than I thought they did, but then again, we saw the path. We're like, yeah, they beat Tampa, they beat the Rams, and at least they're going to the conference championship, so I can't say no to that. As for the Browns, Joe Flacco, I don't know. But to me, that was the big surprise. So, C minus. What the Jets gonna do? And they're banking on Aaron Rodgers' health. There's a lot of great talented play on the offensive lineman there. The Jets are currently picking at. Let me see here. The Jets are their first pick is top 10. Will they trade it? They have no second round pick, so I'm gonna say no, unless they can get a late first and an early second. Maybe they'll trade it. By the time I was recording, we just found out that Haason Reddick from the Eagles is going to Philadelphia. So there's a pass rush. So once again, I feel like the defense should still be solid. So I'm guessing offensive lineman for the Jets is a possibility. I don't know, but talk about being dealt a bad hand in the start of the season. So that's the New York Jets. Going down the line, the next team we're talking about is another team that has disappointed us all. But I don't see a lot of people complaining about that. So the next video we're going to talk about will be the New England Patriots, as they have finally eliminated, thanks to Father Time mainly, the two annoying people of all the NFL. Tom Brady's retired finally, and Bill Belichick is forced to in his own weird way. So until next time, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic. Thank you very much for watching.